Yes, yeah. And actually, we've seen them going down the street more on Revenue, and
It
then
says me
whatever
house
goes
start
to the other side
live.
of the park.
Yeah, so I'm going to go on my phone and see if it's actually there, because the last couple of services, it never ended up in the right place.
And in the park, I mean, but yeah, on our, I mean, they're everywhere.
So
Can you hear me okay?
Yeah.
Judy, can you, Janet? Judy, can you hear me?
except
Yes,
Yeah.
I'm
except
hearing my voice afterward.
Okay, but as long as you can hear me.
Hi,
And here
Barbara.
is Barbara.
Hi.
How are
How
you?
are you?
What happened to the there? Okay. How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
Fine. What are you doing for your anniversary?
What are we doing? We're taking the kids to Cancun. We're leaving on the 30th and coming home on the 4th.
How wonderful.
Yeah, unfortunately, Kofi can't join us, but life is life, you know? Can't help it.
Oh,
But we're all going.
good. That's what, how's
So-
your knee? Oh, hip.
Right here. It's perfect. Perfect. No issues.
Yeah. Um,
Someone took my
am
seat.
I really? Okay, go.
It's okay. What?
I was going to tell you, she have the whole family on a cruise.
Oh, nice. When are you doing that?
No, they,
Who's they?
Sherry and Howard.
Oh. I thought you said you. It's cutting in and out a little. So,
Oh,
that's
okay.
nice. That's really nice.
Yeah.
You guys aren't going with them?
Were we invited?
Never mind. Enjoy the day. Shabbat shalom.
You too, honey. And to Neil.
I better leave.
Tons of people. I'd be coming home from work and people would pull over in their cars. You know, have you
What's
seen
wrong
it?
with you?
Of course, I've seen it. I've been there for weeks. We've been all over Blumenfield's house. We've been to their parents' house. And it's right by his house. And there were old hippie people along it, I guess. And but the signs worked. Yeah.
How else can you get rid of them without
The threatening.
using laws?
Yeah. The
All right.
correct way. Yeah.
David, is it okay to try to set it up this way, or do you think?
No, it's fine.
Oh, okay, because I was afraid, I don't know if it'll slide out. Paul will have to monitor. If it slides out, it won't hit you.
And we got live stream working too.
Oh,
So
good.
we're-
Okay.
Jamie, you join us.
No.
Okay, and I'm a co-host,
You are a co-host.
and I don't know, I don't think we ever matched your,
One to what?
I don't think it was right after Santa.
that the having spread out, and then anniversary cake.
I saw. Yeah, that's great.
Bag for Christmas doesn't seem doesn't seem kosher.
Oh, yes, thank you. Yeah, Helga emailed Sarah and let her know.
So I can't.
Did you mute me? I can't mute.
Bye-bye.
I can't mute.
You can't mute? Let me see if I can mute you. Okay, you are now muted. But don't take it personally, Sam. Okay.
And by the way, my right one, I put it in, and 2 minutes later it went out.
Good morning. Good Shabbos, everybody. Our last Shabbat service of the year. So I will ask you, if you're putting on a talit, to please rise. We'll say the bracha together. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher kiddushanu b'mitzvotav v'tzivanu lahit'atef b'tzivit. And please be seated. We begin our service on page 14. Bottom of the page. Yismechu hashamayim, Yismechu hashamayim, Yismechu hashamayim, v'tayel haaretz. Yeram hayam, Yeram hayam, Yeram hayam, umalo, Yeram hayam, Yeram hayam, Yeram hayam, umalo, Hoshea et amecha, Varech et nachlatecha, Murei, 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 venase mat haolam, Hoshea et amecha, Uvarech et nachlatecha, Murei, 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 venase mat haolam. Mizmor, mizmor, shir, shir liyom hashabbat. 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 Mizmor, shir, shir liyom hashabbat. Mizmor, shir, shir liyom hashabbat. Sadik Katamar Yifrach, Yifrach, Sadik Katamar Yifrach, Sadik Katamar Yifrach, Yifrach, Sadik Katamar Yifrach. Yeres Balbanon Yizke, Yeres Balbanon Yizke, Yeres Balbanon Yizke, Yeres Balbanon Yizke, Yeres Balbanon Yizke. Ye'erez v'avanon yizke. Mikolot mayim rabim atirim, mishmereyam adir b'maron Adonai. Shabtecha b'chol dor v'dor, malchutecha malchut kol olamim. Shabtecha b'chol dor v'dor, malchutecha malchut kol olamim. Shabtecha b'chol dor v'dor, malchutecha malchut kol olamim. Shabtecha b'chol dor v'dor. Va'anam ne'areka ve'ata ve'arolam, ve'ata ve'arolam. Hallelujah, 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 hallelujah. Hallelujah, hallelujah, Tziltzilei Shama. Hallelujah, hallelujah, Tziltzilei Kol neshama te'alel Hallelujah, kol neshama te'alel Hallelujah, hallelujah. La 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 la. La 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 la. La 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 Baruch et Adonai, Please be seated. What was that? The cartoon I just saw today. Somebody said, I have OCD, but I spell it DCO because it should be in alphabetical order. So I'm thinking about that as you're. That's crooked. That's not right. Amika Ahaya Kodesh Neder Rechavora Merkava Zechut Mishar Lifnei Yisrael Esed V'Rachamim Lifnei V'Rod Tovli V'Orod Shebara Elohim Zara V'Da'at V'Bina U'Hashem Not done by Rod mostly take care of it. Malaying tree, making Nagana, Ezimon, Malay, Swaying, Satan, Sassing the Loa, Posting the
What are you watching?
mata aleinu. Avinu malkeinu, Abur Avoteinu, shebarchu lecha, Avinu malkeinu. Lamdenu kechaim, ein techanenu lamdenu, Avinu hamarachman, rachim rachim aleinu. Teinu lehavinu laski lishma, aleinu lelamed lishmor velasot. Kol kayeveh kol divrei Talmud Torah Techaviah. Ve'ha'erenu b'toratecha, v'dabek libeinu b'mitzvotecha, ve'yachil levabeinu le'ahava v'l'ira et shemecha, ve'lo nevot le'olam va'ed, ve'lo nevot le'olam va'ed. Hakadol v'hanora v'atachnu, Nagila v'nismecha, Nagila v'nismecha, B'shuatecha. We gather our seat together. Ve'havienu l'shalom yirbaket v'ta'aretz v'tolichenu komim v'yarsenu k'elto el Yeshua ata. ובאנו בחרת מכל המלשון, וקרבתנו לשמך הגדול שלה באמת, להודות לך ולייחדך באהבה, ברוך אתה אדוני, הבוחר בימו ישראל באהבה. שמע ישראל Adonai Eloheinu Adonai V'ahavta et Adonai Elohecha v'chol nafshecha v'chol miotecha v'hayu advarim ha'ele asher anochi mitzavecha hayom al levavecha v'shinatam levanecha v'dibar tavam v'shivtecha b'beitecha u'v'lechtecha b'derech u'v'shachmecha u'v'kumecha u'kishartam leot al yadecha v'hayu l'totafot b'einecha u'chetabetam al mezuzot beitecha u'v'yisharecha. The Lord said to Moses, "Speak to the children of Israel and bid them to make tzitzit in the corners of their garments throughout their generations, putting upon the tzitzit of each corner a thread of blue. When you look upon the tzitzit, you will be reminded of all the commandments of the Lord and obey them. You will not be led astray by the inclination of your heart or by the attraction of your eyes. Constantly be reminded to fulfill all my commandments and be consecrated to your God. I am the Lord your God, who brought you out of the land of Egypt to be your God. I, the Lord, am your God." We're on page 18. Azot, shibechu ahuvim, shibechu ahuvim, Viromemu, 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 Venatenu, venatenu yedidim, venatenu, venatenu yedidim. Shirot, shirot, v'tishbachot, v'rachot, v'hodaot, lemelech chai v'kayam, ram v'nisa, gadol v'nora, mashpil gelim, u'magbi ashifalim, Motzi Asirim Fode Anavim Zerdalim V'yoneleam Shavah Melah Tehillah Leil El Yom Baruch Mavarach Moshe B'nei Yisrael Chanashira B'simcha Rabba V'yamru Chulam Mi Kamocha V'Elim Adonai Mi Kamocha Nedar B'Kodesh Nora Tehilot Oseh Shirah Chadashashi B'chu Geulim L'Shimcha Asfar Hayam Yachad Kulam Hadulim Lichu V'Yamaru Adonai Yimloch Le'olam Amen. So we're going to pause before we come to our Amidah. The prayers of the Amidah in part ask us to be thankful, to express our thankfulness for prayer. As you know, in our prayer book, we don't have the Amidah. We'll have it in the Musaf service later, but we don't have any of the words in our morning service. And the reason is because we rely too much sometimes on words in order to express our thanks. We sometimes need to rely on our feelings and our thoughts to express our thanks. And we do that in part by sharing publicly what we are thankful for, remind each other how much each of us can also be thankful for. This is anniversary Shabbat, and we are delighted to be able to have the celebration for Barbara and Neil Haddam as they are celebrating their 50th wedding anniversary this month. They actually will celebrate it around, closer to New Year's, but it's coming up. And I'm going to ask Neil and Barbara to please rise as I'm going to share a special blessing for you. Eloheinu v'Elhei Avotenu v'Imotenu, our God and God of our ancestors, we are grateful for the love with which you have blessed and sustained this husband and his wife, whose hearts are filled with gratitude to you. O Lord, may they continue to enjoy your blessings in the new song of their years to come, embraced by the love of their family and their friends, so that they may always live in joy and gladness, in love and harmony, in peace and companionship. And let us say Amen and Mazel Tov. You may be seated. When I was first ordained, which is 50 years ago, and so I was in my late 20s when I became the rabbi here. And what was interesting is that I was asked to officiate at the 50th wedding anniversary of what I thought at the time were really old people. So it's they're not old anymore when they said so. So congratulations for not feeling and looking. You may feel old, but you look mom. That's what I always say. You're as young as you are until you look in the mirror. So let us open it up to whatever you're thankful for. Who would like to share, Neil?
Just want to thank Barbara for putting up with me for 50 years. Almost 50 years.
And vice versa.
Yes.
Seems like 50 already.
Oh, if you really want.
Thank you. Who else would like to share? What are you thankful for? Lou. I'm getting old.
That's why I'm here.
So I'll get to the gratitude part in a minute. But we had 3 weeks, more or less, just about 3 weeks in San Diego. My daughter met her husband in Fiji. He had a conference, and they had a few days. He had a few days, so she flew down, and they had a few days together in Fiji. So we were tasked lovingly to watch the kids
and get them to school and feed them and pick them up and take care of the dog. And the gratitude part was that we were actually able to do that. We had the time, we had the strength and the ability to do that. And it was, I don't want to say it was fully joyful, but there was a lot of joy involved in it. It was tough. We're not used to that anymore. But we really, really kind of overall enjoyed doing all that.
Nice.
Yeah.
Thanks, Lou. Who else would like to share what you are thankful for? Ray.
Okay. Well, this first of all, it's bittersweet, but I'm thankful. We are thankful. Our son-in-law Don he just had his last radiation. Of course, fingers crossed. We don't know if that will continue again. But apparently, there is some kind of a tradition at the place where he goes to get the radiation. Where the person gets to ring a bell, and it's like a congratulations, you won this, and that was very moving. And the fact that he has such a positive outlook. The other thing is, we are so grateful for this congregation and for you, Rabbi. It's been a tough week, and unfortunately, Armand's brother passed away suddenly this last Monday. And thank you for your phone call. Thank you for everyone who's expressed their sympathy. And it just means so much. And I'm not just saying that to be part of the Temple family. You really, all of you are our extended family. Thank you.
Thank you, Ray. Thank you. Who else would like to show you? Yes, please.
Well, nobody knows me, so.
Yes.
It's Mike. Nice to meet you all. The first thing, I'm thankful for two things. One's very immediate and one's a little bit more short-term, long-term. So my first thing I'm thankful for is that through my Google skills, I was able to find this particular congregation. And if I noticed or I read it correctly, you don't meet every Saturday morning. So you were meeting today. So I'm very thankful that I found that. I do want to point out I've only been here for 15 minutes, but it feels very similar to a group that I'm from Chicago, and I'll get to that in the second grateful thing in a second. But I was part of a community that seemed very similar to this. Unfortunately, the community did not have the internal resources to reconvene itself after COVID. My wife and I were part of that in the fact that now I'm segueing to the second thing I'm thankful is that my wife and I can come to California every winter from Chicago. This is our 6th winter. We have 2 granddaughters here, and we do not in any way, shape, or form take it for granted that we're able to do that. So we're grateful for that.
Thank you. Say your name, please.
Michael Hoffenberg.
Thank you. Michael, we're thankful you found us. Now you got to stick around for a while.
Oh, I'm here to the middle of February.
Very nice. Okay. Enjoy your stay here. Thank you, Michael. Who else would like to share? Paul.
I'm thankful that my kids and grandkids will be here for next week.
Thank you, Paul. Who else would like to share what you are thankful for? Certainly, this is a season of families getting together for the holidays, and some of you and some of us are thankful for that. Bonnie.
Well, I shared this on the Tish, but I just want to share it again. David and I are so blessed that our oldest grandchildren, Yael and Gavi, are here from college, their junior year in college, and Gavi drives. And he and Yael drove Eitan here to school. But he called us before. He said, Bubby, Yael and I need to hang out somewhere. Can we come and hang out with you between dropping him off and doing our next? Of course. And they came and we sat in the family room schmoozing for 30 to 45 minutes. And it was so lovely that that's what they wanted to do. So we feel very blessed that that they did that.
And they didn't ask to eat, so we thought there was no ulterior motive for them. Who else would like to share what you were thankful for? Niece.
Okay, first of all, I rang that bell. And it is really cool when you, I had an ultrasound and a PET scan, and everything was good. So I'm thankful for that. Everything, still kind of waiting for the other shoe to drop, but I understand you get over that.
Yeah.
But yeah, everything was happy.
Good. Thanks, Lise. Anybody else before we call in Stan? Davida.
I'm very thankful that tomorrow night I'm having a pre-family. We have a Selman Sigatow West Coast Family Circle, and we're having our pre-Hanukkah party at my house. So it always makes me feel delighted to still have family, because when you come from a big family and then it starts dwindling down, so it's nice to have that, and just to have family and friends, and that's so important. And I'm happy that Hanukkah and Christmas are together so we can enjoy everybody's happiness, and I pray that there'll be lots of happiness.
Yes. Thank you, Davida. Mo.
I'm happy my bank account is still able to pay some bills after all the presents I've been buying.
Thank you. And Maida.
Oh, well, I was going to echo some of what Ray said of just being grateful for this community. But I think also Jan wanted to say something, or she was leaving.
So I'll call her in a second. And I'm going to call on you next, Janet. So be ready to find the unmute button. She does it well. Barbara.
I just want to say that Aaron and Lauren had to go to England. Her dad is not well, so they had to go. But we had to watch the kids. So first it was Thanksgiving vacation, so they were with us at the house. And then on Sunday, I went back to the house with the kids because they had school Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. And that is different when you haven't done it in so long. It's like, call me at 6:30, make sure I'm up, And then it was like, Lauren, write everything down. 7:05, this, 7. I need to know because I don't know how to do this anymore. But I got through it. And I'm also very thankful that we were able to take the kids on a vacation.
Oh, good. Enjoy it. Janet, please share.
First and foremost, to say I'm thankful, but he only had one layer taken off on his hose. So that was good. Okay, next thing is a very big thing too. Our city, 100,000 people, always has a Christmas tree in the Civic Center. And enough was enough. We needed a menorah. Three of us, two of us and one of our friends met with the mayor and so on and so forth. Long story short, we have a menorah. And we are just so thrilled. In fact, the menorah is supposed to be delivered Monday at the 9-footer. But because they couldn't get it till Monday, they got a 6-foot in the meantime. So we're really thrilled.
Good. That's good to hear. Thank you, Janet. Anybody else online would like to share? And before I call on Stan, anybody else here would like to share? Judy?
I had to go in for kind of physical, and everything was fine. So always good to hear.
Nice. Thank you. Stan, please share. And try to be close, a little bit close to the screen. So
Well, first of all, for those who don't know me after 22 years or so in this congregation, my name is Stan Schroeder, and I'm the ritual vice president. I write and edit and publish the Shir Notes, our monthly newsletter on my computer at home, because I was a computer scientist programmer for many years in my career. And Judaism has been a large part of Phyllis, my wife, and our life. And I want to talk about, okay, so when we joined in 2002, sometime after that, we're going to Shabbat services, and we had this, sharing of what we're thankful for. And I told Rabbi Worspan at the time that what I'm thankful for is the people that came before me and made this world what it is. And I had written biographies of people and whatever and shared in the Shir notes and one way or another for quite a while. So I've had this special place here, this very place, not necessarily physical place, but spiritual place, now for about 20, not quite that long. So maybe 20 years. So it's been 22 years since we joined it. Judaism, as I say, has been a big part of our lives. And I want to talk about 2 years that were particularly significant. One of them is the 2002 year that we joined the congregation. And the other is 1987, the year that Phyllis and I got married and bought the condo that we now live in for all those years. That same summer, Phyllis had attended Cal State Northridge as a mature adult and got a degree in religious studies. And one of her teachers, her main teacher, was a woman named Jody Myers, was the head of Jewish studies. And she was very significant in the evolution of Phyllis and actually through me and I through Phyllis in the Judaism that we came to know. Actually, we had gone to the University of Judaism before that. That's what it was called in those days. That was formed by Rabbi Kaplan and Rabbi Max Forspan, David's father, formed back then. So University of Judaism was one of our main sources, along with the teachers there. And one of the main teachers was Joseph Kalushkin, Rabbi Kalushkin. We went, and at the same time, we were going to Brandeis Bardeen Institute in Simi Valley. So these were the sources. Kalushkin is now 76 years old and still active in New York City. He was here for many years with the Synagogue of Performing Arts and other things. And Phyllis and I actually went to a weekend at Camp Ramad that he did, a number of things. And Jody Myers of blessed memory, unfortunately died. She was the head of the department at Cal State Northridge, and she formed so many community programs that the whole community was involved in, including at the Lemley Theater. They did once a month or so Jewish film, and they had people to talk about it. So it was that. Then, as I said, in 1987, we were married. The rabbi who married us, Rabbi Melvin Goldstein of Temple Aliyah, and at that time, so I have to mention him of blessed memory. So those are, for the most part, the people I wanted to mention. One of the things that many of you know, and I feel so blessed, is that one of my hobbies is writing poetry. So I've been writing poetry and started out as just personal poetry for the family. And I've been writing these poems for now over 50 years, and there's hundreds of poems. And from about 20 years on, they're on my computer, but the ones that I wrote before that, I have in a notebook that's like this. And I took one of those poems to share to close out. In 2002, the high holidays were in September, and our anniversary is October 18th. Well, in the meantime, that summer we went to Israel on an archaeological dig for 5 weeks. Okay, so this is a poem that I wrote that anniversary, October 18, 2002. Why 15 denotes crystal, I don't really know. Maybe some upscale merchant said it was so. Whatever the reason, it's now very clear that crystal is traditional the 15th year. What's the 50th year? Pardon me. Crystal's enchantment goes back in history. Modern science still finds it a mystery. Ancients gazed at a strange light reflections. Now microscopes reveal crystalline sections. Crystal possesses some magical power. The future is read in under an hour. Crystals are basic to physics today, how molecules behave in a particular way. Commercial crystal is an expensive glass made from lead oxide to give it class. The structure of crystal is not crystalline, but it's harder than glass and fit for a queen. First made in Bohemia 5 centuries ago, crystal chandeliers had a beautiful glow. Transparent quartz and elegant shapes cast spectacular shadows on royal drapes. Crystal represents the spiritual sphere, radiant light and a purpose sincere. Qualities I see when I look at your face, providing me with a solid base. Snowflakes are formed from a crystalline ice. Profound or mundane, our life is nice. Striking crystal emits a definite ring. Being with you makes my heart sing. This anniversary is number 15. I hope this poem can say what I mean. May love fill all the days of your life, and may you enjoy being my perfect wife. Would you have it?
Thank you, Stan. Thank you. Let us all now rise. We're on the bottom of page 18 in preparation for our private thoughts. Please with us. Shur Yisrael, Puma B'Ezrat Yisrael, Inumeha Yehuda B'Yisrael, Go Aleinu Adonai Tzvaot Shemo, Kedosh Yisrael, Baruch Atah Yisrael. Turn away from the pages in the prayer book to the meditations. Shalom Tova Uvracha Chaim v'chesed Chesed v'rachamim Aleinu v'yakov Aleinu v'yakov Aleinu v'yakov Yisrael Avrecha Sim Shalom Tova Uvracha Ein v'chesed v'rachamim Sim Shalom Tova Uvracha Ein v'chesed v'rachamim Aleinu v'yakov Yisrael Avrecha Aleinu v'yakov Yisrael Avrecha Sim Shalom Tova Uvracha Ein v'chesed v'rachamim Oseh shalom, shalom, shalom Nimromah ya'aseh shalom Aleinu Oseh shalom, shalom, shalom Nimromah ya'aseh shalom Aleinu v'yakov
Yisrael v'yimeru. Amen.
Please be seated. Yitgadal v'yitgadal Shmei Rabba. B'yom Ha'ad Brachi Rutei v'mechmachotei v'chai echon v'yom echon v'chai nechol Beit Yisrael v'agalav b'zman kri v'yimeru. Amen. Yehei Shmei Rabba Mevorah. Le'olam le'om le'omaya. Yivarach v'yishtabach v'yipor v'truma minasei v'yithadar v'yidlevilal Shemei Kudusha. V'yichu le'la mikol b'chatav shorata tush b'chatav v'nechmata da'amiran v'alma v'yimeru. Yititgabel slotan v'adhon d'cho Yisrael kadam avon v'shmai v'yimeru. Amen. Yishlam rabba mitzamai v'chem aleinu v'al kol Yisrael v'yimeru. Amen. Hoseh shalom b'mromav. Uyaseh shalom aleinu v'al kol Yisrael v'yimeru. Amen. We've come to our Torah service, page 19, in the middle of the page. Let's give out some honors. Who would like to carry the Torah through the congregation? Lou, thank you. Who would like the Hagbah honor, picking up the Torah? Armand. Who would like the Galila honor, wrapping the Torah? No Hebrew required. Paula, thank you. So we continue on page 19. Ein kamocha ba'Elohim Adonai v'ein kema'asecha malchutecha malchut kol olamim u'memshalecha b'chol dor v'dor. Adonai melech, Adonai malach, Adonai yimloch le'olam va'ed, Adonai oz le'amo yitein, Adonai yivarech et amo b'shalom. Al harachamim eitiva v'irtzoncha et Zion. Tivnei chomot Yerushalayim, Tivnei chomot Yerushalayim. Kilecha levad batachnu, melech el Rabbenisa, Adon olamim. Vayehi b'nso Aaron, vayomer Moshe, Koma Adonai, v'yafutzu oivecha, v'yanusu misanecha, mipanecha, ki mitzion tetzei Torah, ki mitzion tetzei Torah. Udevar Adonai miYerushalayim, Baruch Shenatan Torah Torah, Baruch Shenatan Torah Torah, Le'amo Yisrael Yerushato Be'Adarachei. V'lish me'kadisha kadisha yakira, anamartu shemhan, be'anarachet, v'lish me'kadisha kadisha yakira, anamartu shemhan. Ye'eravakadama, T'tiftach li b'oraita, V'tashli b'shalim t'libi, V'libadecha Yisrael, L'tov v'l'chaim, V'l'shlam.
Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad.
Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad.
Echad Eloheinu, Gadol Adonenu, Kadosh Shemo.
Echad Eloheinu Gadol Adonenu Kadosh Shemo. Lecha Adonai Hagidul Ve'Hagivul Ve'Hatiferet Ve'Hanei Sach Ve'Ahod Kiko Bashamayim Uvaretz Kiko Bashamayim Uvaretz Adonai HaMamlacha Ve'Hamid Naseh L'chol Mitzion Teisei Torah Mitzion Teisei Torah Mitzion 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 Teisei Torah Mitzion Teisei Torah Mitzion Teisei Torah Mitzion 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 Teisei Torah Udvar Adonai Yerushalayim Udvar Adonai Yerushalayim Udvar Adonai Yerushalayim Udvar Adonai Yerushalayim Mitzion Teisei Torah Mitzion Teisei Torah Mitzion 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 Teisei Torah. So Michael, we have a communal ali. Everybody in the whole congregation is to have a ali at the same time. And so we'll invite all of you to please point right here with your talit or your pinky and kiss. And we join together. Baruch Hu Adonai Habarach. Baruch Adonai Habarach Le'olam Va'ed. Baruch Adonai Habarach Le'olam Va'ed. Baruch Atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher bachar banu mikol ha'amim v'natan lanu et Torato. Baruch Atah Adonai noten haTorah.
Vayeshev Yaakov be'eretz migurei aviv be'eretz Canaan ele todot Yaakov Yosef ben shva esrei shana haya roe et achav wait. Yosef sorry roe el
Et achiv.
Batzon. Okay, I'm sorry. Vehu nar et b'nei bilha ve'et b'nei zilpa neshei aviv ve'yavo Yosef et dibar ta ra'a el avihem ve'Yisrael ahav et Yosef mikol banav ki ven zikunim hulo v'asalo ketonet pasi.
It's right here.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher natan lanu Torah emet v'chayei olam nata b'tochenu. Baruch atah Adonai noten haTorah. I don't think so.
Please be seated.
I know.
We have company here.
Yes, I do. I'm not perfect. Yes.
You're perfectly imperfect. shoot, I screwed up.
I remember a few years ago when Hanukkah was at the beginning of December. Very often it is in the beginning of December. And there was a cartoon of a store, and there were some people who came in to do some Christmas shopping. And there was nothing left on the shelves. And the proprietor shrugged his shoulders and said, "I'm sorry, Hanukkah came early this year." Well, that's not true this year, right? They actually are the same day. So the first night of Hanukkah is the same day as Christmas. So because Hanukkah is coming up this week, there are two things that I wanted to share with you about Hanukkah. The first, and I show this to you every year, we'll see how many of you are going to remember what this is all about. So this is a Chanukiah. This dates back hundreds and hundreds of years. And Armand especially should remember this Chanukiah because he helped to maintain it and to stabilize it. It was falling apart, and he was able to, because he's very, very good at fixing things, and he was able to put this so it's stationary again. But it's an oil lamp rather than holding candles, and it goes on the wall. And the question I always pose to you, and I'm hoping that you will remember the answer, but if not, it doesn't matter because most of us don't have a Chanukiah like this. This is where the shamash goes, obviously, and then you have the 8 candles that go down here, or at least the 8 oil containers. And the question I always pose is, how does it work? Because if the shamash is supposed to light the other candles, this is not detachable. And so whenever I pose this and people don't know the answer, they talk about, well, maybe there's the channels of something in the back, or maybe so you're supposed to drip the taper down so it touches these. But it's none of those. The fact of the matter, and if you remember how it works, what the point of this is. So, all right. That's why we review every now and then. That's why I don't mind sharing information with you twice. So here's how it works. Now, in order to understand how it works, you have to understand what the prayers are that follow the prayers that we say when we light the Chanukiah. And the one that we often recite, you may not, but a lot of people do, is a song called Hanerut Halalu. Hanerut Halalu, Anachnu Madlikim al Hanis. So here is, it says that these lights that we kindle to recall the wondrous triumphs and the miraculous victories wrought by your holy Kohanim for our ancestors in ancient days. And then it says the following. I'll read it in Hebrew and I will give you my translation. And then it says, for all of the days of Hanukkah, these are holy. Ve'ein lanu reshut. We don't have permission lehishtamesh bahem, to use them, ella, except to lirot otam bilvat, to only look at them. We can't use them. We can only look at them kedei lahodot halel l'shimcha hagadol, in order to acknowledge you and to thank you and to praise you for all of the miracles wrought for us. And therefore, we're not allowed to use them, which is why when you have a Chanukiah, you're not allowed to use the light. They're not utilitarian lights. It's not like Shabbat candles, which is clearly utilitarian because it was supposed to light Friday night before it got dark so that you could watch TV by the candle. But that's not true with these. These lights, you're only supposed to look at them to remember the miracle. Now, the interesting thing is then that what if you have lit your Chanukiah and then the power goes out in your house? And now the only light that you have in the room are the candles. But you're not allowed to use them for any practical purpose. You can't use them to see out to get around the room. So the rabbis say, you got to have another candle there, probably higher than the others. That's not one of the ones that are bound by that law that you can't use them. That becomes the shamash. That's the service candle. This is the one that is the utilitarian candle, the one that you do see by. So while in most Chanukiot, it also does a double duty by lighting the other candles, you don't have to use it to light the other candles. You just use another source of illumination to light these candles. This stays up here. You light this because this is the practical candle. And this reminds us that in life, there are practical things that we do, but there are really impractical things that we do as well, like the good deeds that we do that help other people aren't necessarily to our advantage, but that doesn't matter. It's the kindness that we show others that's important. Judy.
I want you to know that I pretty much remembered that.
You're much younger than the rest of us.
Mr. Mosh does not have to light the other candles, and I remembered that it was for non-utilitarian purposes. I'm really happy.
I'm happy too. So now we turn our attention to the Torah portion. So this is the Torah portion. It's interesting that the very first words that Bonnie read were the words that Jacob is in the land of Canaan. The Eila Toldot Yaakov. These are the generations of Jacob, Joseph. Doesn't even mention any of the other generations, only mentions Joseph. And with this, we begin the Joseph narrative. The Joseph narrative is the longest narrative in the Torah. And we are now introduced to Joseph, who, as you'll remember, gains the enmity of his brothers because they're so jealous, because Jacob is showing so much love for Joseph, more so than any of the other brothers, and so they become very jealous. And then one day, Jacob goes to his son Joseph, who's the only one at home, and says, Joseph, will you please go get your brothers, see how they're doing, because they're shepherding the flocks in another county, and go see if everything's okay. Now, what's interesting is that Jacob knew very well that the brothers hated Joseph. They said, we hate Joseph. And yet Jacob is going to put Joseph in a position where he could be killed by his brothers. And that, in fact, is exactly what's going to happen. It shows you how oblivious some parents are as to what's going on in the family. So he sends Joseph. And Joseph, as you remember, you know the story very well. Although there's a part of it here that's very, very obscure, because if you don't know Hebrew and you look at the Torah, what it actually says is, and Joseph goes, and his brothers see him, and they say, let's kill him because he's so haughty. And one brother says, no, let's throw him into a pit. What's interesting is that after he gets thrown into the pit, and then they go off and have lunch, over here, a band of people come, and it says in the Torah, well, let me see if I can just show you, because it's not clear at all. This isn't the Torah, so.
There's a Tanakh.
So here's what it says. It says, they sat down for a meal. Looking up, they saw a caravan of Ishmaelites coming from Gilead, their camels bearing so on and so forth. Then Judah said to his brothers, what gain do we have by killing him? Let's sell him to the Ishmaelites. And then it says, his brothers agreed. When Midianite traders passed by, they pulled Joseph up out of the pit. So the brothers didn't sell him into slavery at all. Where did that come from? It says here that the Midianites, who apparently were in a caravan in front of the Ishmaelites, but they were not seen because maybe they were behind a hill. It's very hilly in that area. So they're on the other side of a hill. Here come the Midianites. Beyond them is a caravan of Ishmaelites. The Midianites come. They see Joseph in the pit. They pull him out. They sell him to the Ishmaelites. Then it goes on to say, when Reuben returned to the pit, so the brothers are finished lunch, Reuben comes back to see how Joseph is doing and saw that Joseph wasn't there. So this whole story about that the brothers sold them into slavery, it's not in the Torah. But what is interesting in the Torah is the following. They say, so now I want you to look at the sheet here, because this is filling in a gap that is from the Talmud. So look at the sheet that I handed you. It said, Rabbi Kahana, Rabbi Natan, now it's going to tell us a little bit about Hanukkah, before it talks about Joseph. Rabbi Natan Bar Minyomin expounded the name of Rabbi Tanchum, a Hanukkah light, which was placed higher than 20 cubits, is invalid. Likewise, a sukkah and a mavoy. So you can't have the Hanukkah so high for some reason. It doesn't say yet why. But you can't have a tall sukkah, You can't have a mavoy is like the eruv, like the wires that surround an area to mark it off so that you can carry on Shabbat. It can't be so high. And now there's an explanation as to why that's going to tie it to the Joseph story. Rabbi Kahana further said in the name of Rabbi Tanchum, what is the meaning of these words in the Torah? So remember, the brothers come back, and the brothers, it says in the Torah, when Joseph came to his brothers, they stripped Joseph of his tunic, the ornamented tunic that he was wearing, and took him and cast him into the pit. Then in the Torah, it says, it's not here, this is the Torah, the pit was empty, there was no water in it. The pit was empty, there was no water in it. So what are the rabbis going to wonder about? Rabbi Kahana said in the name of Rabbi Tanchum, what is the meaning of the words in the Torah, and the pit was empty, there was no water in it? Is it not self-evident that when the Torah states that the pit was empty, we already know that there was no water in it? What does the Torah mean to tell us with the addendum there was no water in it? The words in the Torah are very sparse. The words are only there for a reason. Why does it tell us information that we already know? The pit was empty. Why does it add there was no water in it? Here's the answer. It teaches us there was no water in the pit, but there were snakes and scorpions in it.
Then it wasn't really empty.
So therefore, it wasn't really empty. So what does that have to do with the Hanukkah lights? The reason that we have Hanukkah lights is to proclaim the miracle, whatever the miracle was. You're supposed to put it at the entry to your house so that when people walk by, they see it. You light them after it gets dark so that people are finished with work, they're walking home, and they look up and they see your lights, and then they remember the miracle. But if you're such a proud Jew that you want to proclaim the miracle for people miles around, you hoist your Chanukiah all the way up 50 feet in the air so that everybody in the world will be able to see how proud you are and how you're proclaiming the miracle. But what's the problem? People walking down the street are not going to be able to see what's all the way up in the air there. The sukkah that is so tall that you can't see the stars because the sides are too high. And the same thing with the mavoy, with the cord, the wire, that if you can't see it, then it's of no practical value. There's a very important lesson here. And the lesson is, see what is the consequence of our actions. We need to anticipate by looking at what we are doing and what the ramifications are going to be. Sometimes we don't do that. Let me give you some examples. Some examples in my life. You ever prepare a lavish meal for somebody and they come and they say, oh, I'm sorry, we can't eat that? Why don't we, when we invite people over for a meal, say, by the way, do you have any dietary issues or restrictions? And that will solve that problem. So if you've ever gone to somebody's house, as we've sometimes gone to people's homes and they've served us things that aren't kosher, we have to say, I'm sorry, we can't eat that. I once got a phone call at 6 o'clock in the morning, and I was up all night because I was very, very sick. And I'd been sick for a few days. Apparently, some friends back east heard that I wasn't well. So they called me. I finally fell asleep one morning, and they called me at 6 o'clock in the morning. They said, David, we heard that you're not well. How are you? And I'm wondering, why are they calling me at 6 in the morning? I finally fell asleep because they're calling from the East Coast, and it's 9 o'clock. They don't see to the details. You ever plan a surprise birthday party and then you don't ask whether that person actually likes surprise birthday parties? Or how about the principal of this school many, many years ago, when the threat of spreading germs even predated COVID, what he did was he took hand sanitizer and he had stations placed all around the campus. And then he went before the board of directors and he very proudly said, not only did I have hand sanitizers put all around the campus, but I made sure there's no alcohol in the liquid. What is the detail that he didn't see to? Then it's not going to work. You need alcohol to kill the germs. Here was a case that actually happened to me, to Bonnie and myself. So we were on vacation. We went to a hotel, And right before we had a chance to go in, we got a note from our travel agent. And he said, I want to even know, he said very proudly, I was able to get an upgrade to your room. And we said, well, that's wonderful. Well, thank you very much for arranging that. What was the upgrade? In the room, which was a very nice room, the upgrade was the beds are in a loft, and you got to climb upstairs, schlep all your luggage up these stairs to get this ladder, essentially, to get them all up into this. So the bottom line is, and we learned this from our Torah portion, that if we are going to do anything, make sure that we try to anticipate what the consequences are. Figure out all the details, all the ways that things can go wrong and all the things that they can go right, and make sure that we see to those details so that we don't end up like the brothers. They checked to see that there was no water, but they didn't realize that if they didn't check for snakes and scorpions, Joseph would have been killed anyway. And with that, we're going to do a Mishu Berach for those who are not well, and I'll ask you in a second to share the name or names. Mishu Berach Abutena Abraham Yisach Yaakov Yumatenu Yisach Baruch Abaleya Hu Yavarech B'Rabbeinu Cholim. May He who blessed our ancestors Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, Sarah, Rebecca, Rachel, and Leah. Bless them to these who are sick. Please your hand and I'll call on you.
Check with
Yeah, you can. Well,
Charlie, Natalie, Solomon, Amanda Severe, Richard Denise, Lisa Mark, Walkman, Laura Shaw, Rachel Wood, Sheila, and
Don, David, Jeanette, Lasana, Phil Cooper, Stephanie Happy, Nancy Sherman.
Robert Baker, Robert Feld, Elsie, Sue Bars, and Carolyn Birch.
thank you. Other names?
Senna Schuster, Rick and Betsy Schuster, Courtney Franklin, Lisa Shepard.
Phyllis, Sheila Hart, and Lou Silverman.
Thank you.
Debbie Graham, Culture J, Alan Solomon, Nancy Stetton, Jocelyn Stratton, Nancy Arkin, Kelly Moore, and Ian Crowley.
Paul?
Judy Goldsmith.
Thank you. Bye.
Nadav and Rita Sella, Pearl Bati Huda, Jane Harrison, Nancy Arkin, Fran Winters, Barbara Garibaldi, Maureen Krantz, Bonnie Ritter, Bob Sharp, Steve Smallson, Nanette Goodfriend, Jody Epstein, Linda Rorwin, Mina Hersher, Corinne Geller, Rebecca Farber, Brianna Gribben.
Thank you. Any other names in the neglected? Yes. Thank you. Other names? Online, any names that we neglected? Janet and Richard?
You go.
My wife, Janet.
And
I,
my
my
husband,
husband,
Richard,
Richard,
Grant
Grant
Hackman,
Hackman,
Sheriff Barber,
Dave,
Dave, Brian
Brian
Day,
Day,
Sophia
Sophia
Newbark,
Newbark,
Melinda,
Melinda
Carla
Carla
Will,
Wills,
and
and
Carl
Carl
Calusi.
Calusi.
Thank you. Any other online? Any other names here that we've neglected? HaKadosh Baruch Hu yishlach lehem b'mehira refuat hanefesh v'refuat haguf b'toch shar chol Yisrael v'nomar amen. May the All-Merciful restore these people to full health and to full vigor, along with all others who are stricken with illness. And let us say, Amen. We're going to return the Torah to the Ark. I will ask so before the Hagman and Leela come up here, we do have a couple of other prayers that we're going to make. The first one is for the United States of America. Harachman hu yivarech brit v'yagen aleha. May God bless the United States of America and protect her. And before we say our blessing for Israel, thank you again, Stan, for sharing this little tidbit about what's been going on in Israel. This is titled Pioneering Bedouin School Models Sustainable Solar-Powered Living. A Bedouin school in an unrecognized village in southern Israel is pioneering what is thought to be the first model of its kind for living sustainably without any connection to state electricity, water, or sewage infrastructure, just by harnessing the power of the sun. It's a pilot technological project that can help over 70% of the world's population cope with the effects of climate change. Set up by the Arava Institute, the site includes a greenhouse and comprises 5 off-grid facilities. Unit using bacteria and the algae to recycle wastewater for use in crop irrigation, solar panels that help crops to grow while also producing solar energy, batteries to store the energy for hours when there is no sunshine. The unit developed by the Israeli home biogas company that converts organic waste into methane gas for cooking and fertilizer, and Israeli water gun machines which provide clean drinking water from the air. So wonderful news out of Israel. Our thoughts always with the hostages. It's been 400 days, still 100 hostages. We keep reading that we're getting closer and closer to some kind of a resolution, and so our prayers continue to pray for them and for peace in Israel, peace in the Middle East, and we're going to together share that blessing. As I have the Haggadah and Galila, please come forward, and we share with the blessing as you rise. Avinu Shabbat Yisrael v'Golo B'Marevet Medinat Yisrael Reshit Tzmichat Geulateinu. Zot HaTorah Asher Sam Moshe Lifnei Bnei Yisrael Ti Adonai B'yad Moshe. Yisrael Deoraita Haru Yisrael Deoraita Haru Torah Hallelujah. Torah Hallelujah. Torah Hallelujah. Torah Hallelujah. Eitz Chaim hi lamachzikiba B'tochecha me'usha Derach echad darchei Noah Bechol netivotecha Shalom Hashirenu Adonai Elecha v'nashua Kadesh Yameinu Kadesh Yameinu. Remain standing for Musaf, bottom of page 21. Yikada, Yikada Shemei Rabba. Amen. Biamari Rachirute, B'michmachute, B'chayim, Kol Yom, B'chonu, B'chayim, B'chol Beit Yisrael, B'hagala, U'bizman Karim, Yimeru, Amen. Yesh Rabba Mevorach, Le'olam Me'omaya, Yitbarach, V'yishtabach, V'yipar, V'truma Minaseh, V'yitadar, V'yitaleh, V'yitala, Shemei Dekudesha, V'chata V'shirata, Tushmechata V'nechemata, Amiran Be'alma, Yimeru. Amen. Page 22, we take 3 small steps back, 3 steps forward, put our heels together, and bow. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu v'Elohei Avotenu Elohei Abraham, Elohei Yitzchak, Elohei Yaakov Elohei Sarah, Elohei Rivka, Elohei Rachel, Elohei Leah האל הגדול, הגיבור והנורא, אל העליון, גומל חסדים טובים, וקונה החול, זוכר חסדי אבות, ומביא גואל, לפני בניהם, למען שמו ויאהבה, מלך חוזר ומשיח Baruch atah Adonai, Magen Avraham, atah gibor le'olam Adonai, mechayim metim atah Rav L'Hoshia, Mashiach haruach u'mori haGashem, v'chaker chayim b'chesed, mechayim metim b'rachamim rabim, somech noflim v'rofei cholim, ומתיר אסורים, ומחייב אמונתו לשני עפר. מי כמוך בעל גבורה, ומי כמלך, מלך ממית ומחייב, ומצמיח ישועה. ונאמן אתה לחיות מתים. ברוך אתה אדוני מחיי המתים, נעריך ונקדישך, כסוד צביעת שפי קודש, המקדישים שמך בקודש, כך כתוב על יד נביאך, וקראת זה ויאמר, קדוש 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 Adonai Tzebaot, v'locho haaretz kevodo. Kevodo malei malei olam, mishartav sholim sholim zelazeh. Aye mekom mekom kevodo, aye mekom mekom kevodo. Limatam baruch yomeru, baruch kevod Adonai mikomo. Mikomo hu yifen berachamim v'yachonam miachadim shemo erev avoker b'chol yom tamid paman be'ahava shema omrim Shema Yisrael Adonai Eloheinu Adonai Echad Eloheinu Avinu Malkeinu Avinu Malkeinu Moshiachenu Vehu Yashmienu Berachamav Shenit Li'enei Kol Chai Vehu Yashmienu Berachamav Shenit li'enei kol chai. V'yolachem Elohim. Ani Adonai Elohechem. V'divrei kodecha katuv le'mor. Yimloch Adonai le'olam. Elohai et Zion. L'dor v'dor. Hallelujah. L'dor nagid v'lecha l'nesach nesachim kedushat chanaktish. V'shivcha Eloheinu l'pino le'yemush le'olam va'ed. Yel melech gadol v'kadosh ata baruch ata Adonai. Please be seated. Yismechu b'malchutecha, Shomrei, Shomrei, Shomrei Shabbat, V'korei Omnei Shabbat. Yismechu b'malchutecha, Shomrei, Shomrei, Shomrei Shabbat, V'korei Omnei Shabbat. Mekadeshei, Mekadeshei Shavi Shabbat, Kulam Yisbu V'yidan Tuvecha Shabbat, Yismechu B'malchutecha, Shomrei, Shomrei, Shomrei Shabbat, Korei Omnei Shabbat, Yismechu B'malchutecha, Shomrei, Shomrei, Shomrei Shabbat, Korei Omnei Shabbat. Ashvi ratzita bo v'gidashta ho Shabbat, Chemdad yemimoto karata, Zecher l'maseh v'reishi. Before we turn our concluding prayers, we're going to have some announcements. Jordan, as you know, is going to be reconsecrated in a couple of weeks, in 2 weeks, but in the new term. And for the very first time, so he's going to be a 12-year president of the congregation. 14-year president. For the very first time in those 14 years that he's come to services, did he sit in his seat right in the front row, right? Jordan, please share some announcements.
It takes that long to qualify for a front seat.
Well, you should have asked. We would have qualified you years ago.
First of all, I didn't say that it's something I was thankful for, but I was thankful for, even though sometimes I'm not thankful for it, that my sister lives with me, because early this morning, or not so early this morning, she said, "Aren't you going to services?" Kind of slipped my mind. Let's see. So I have my notes in my head. This next Saturday is our Shabbat Torah study session at the Schroeder's. Obviously, on the Wednesday night is the first candle for Hanukkah, and that's also the day of that other holiday. Then are we tishing on the second? No tish. Good. Nicht tish. Huh? But there will be a special on the that's Thursday. A program that I'm supposed to be helping Stan with. I didn't finish doing that regarding the very liturgical and telling question of Christmas songs written by Jews, of which there are many. In fact,
7:30 on Zoom.
And 7:30 via Zoom. Interestingly enough, apparently the legend is that it was a Jewish person who wrote Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer because he was already fixated on noses. It happens. Our next service will be on Saturday, December 4th, January 4th, where we will have the consecration of officers. And also the following Shabbat, the 18th, will be our linen Shabbat, where we bring.
We're not going to be here.
We're not going to be. You're not going to be here.
It's the 20th.
Oh,
it's been changed.
It's been changed.
On the schedule anyway.
We changed it to the last Saturday of the month.
Oh, okay. So good, because that coincides with Macy's White Sale. So get linens for linen Shabbat. So that would be, what date is that?
25th.
The 25th? Yes, so it would be the 25th. Okay. Also, by the way, make a point, quick to get to Target to buy $10 Target quick gift cards. Get them to Becky so they can be distributed to the families in the shelters. Yes.
Actually, I spoke to Becky, and she couldn't be here today. So if anyone does have some, I was given a few. I'm going to drop them off to her.
Okay. And remember, even though Target is going to be crowded, you don't have to really go in. You just have to walk in and stand in line in the checkout line. And that's where the gift cards are. So there's no reason to be afraid of it. So outside of the fact of all these schedule changes, and you can buy linens while you're there. Anybody have anything else to add? Shabbat Shalom.
Thank you, Jordan. Let us all turn to page 24 and join together. Ain't got a little hanger, ain't got no manger, ain't got walking to me, oh, she ain't no I take you to our celebration. Shalom, son of Kiryeh Haratzon. Elo Shamayim Mishpachot Elo Sangel Hidokanim Vegor Aleinu Kivol Hamanam Va'anachnu Korim Umishachavim U'odim Lifnei Melech Malkei HaMlachim HaKadosh Baruch Hu Shemot Shamayim Moshe Mikro Bashamayim Shliach Yisrael Shliach Yisrael Nigarei Meromim U'Einu Eino Elokim Please be seated. However, if you are in mourning or observing Yahrzeit, remain standing as the congregational family extends our sincerest condolences to Armand and to Armand's family on the passing of his dear brother Maxim. And we use the traditional words of our people, Hamakom Yenechem Etchem B'Tov Sha'ar Avei Letzion Yerushalayim. May God comfort you amongst the other mourners of Zion and Jerusalem. And we observe these Yahrzeits of the coming weeks, 2 weeks, Zichronam Livracha, may their memories be for a blessing. Ed Halem, Charles Kaplan, Herman Sturman, Gerda Sapiro, Anna Goldstein, Sylvia Kovar, Yitzchak Liverant, Charles Fay, Ellen Fremed, Richard Goldstein, Moritz Lubowski, Eli Strasner, Leah Besbeck, Beatrice Rebecca Chapman, Mary Podolsky, Rebecca Miller, and Al Yablan. Are there any names that I have neglected, right?
Yes, it's just happened. My first cousin, Eric Winston, that was very dear friend, Jerry Sackler.
Thank you. Any other names that we neglected? The Mourner's Kaddish is on page 25. Yitgadal v'yitgadash shemei Rabbah. V'yalmad divrach hirutei v'yamlich malchutei. V'chayechon u'vyomeichon u'v'chayei l'chol beit Yisrael. Hagala v'zman karim v'yimeru. Amen. Yehei shmei Rabbah mevorach le'olam v'omei amaya. Yitbarach v'yishtabach v'yitpa'ar v'yitromam v'yitnaseh. V'yitadar v'yitaleh v'yitalal k'mei d'kudisha b'reichu le'ila min kol birchata v'shirata tushbechata v'nechemata da'miran v'yalma v'yimeru. Amen. Yehei shlama rabba min shemaya v'chayim aleinu v'yal kol Yisrael v'yimeru. Amen. Oseh shalom dimromav hu ya'aseh shalom aleinu v'yal kol Yisrael. Please be seated. Immediately after services, we were invited to a kiddush, and we thank the Haddams for honoring their anniversary with the sharing of a beautiful, beautiful cake, a white cake with a happy anniversary. We conclude our service with Adon Olam, in keeping with the spirit of the holiday. Page 26. Adon Olam Asher Malach B'terem Kol Yitzir Nivra V'Yikra Sat V'Chefso Kol Azay Melech Shelo ואחרי ככלות הכל, לבדו ימלוך נורא, והוא היה והוא הורג, והוא יהיה בתפארה, והוא אחד ואין שני, להקשיב לו להמתין, בלי ראשית בלי תכלית, ולא העוז והמשרה, והוא אלי וחי גואלי, וצור חמי ביצרה, והוא ניסי ולנוס לי, ונקותי ביום אקרא, בידו אבקירו, please rise, יהי תישן והעירה, Adonai li v'elo yira. Shabbat
Well, it's different. There's a melody.
Okay. All of a sudden, you're talking about some, empty pit, and oh, wait a minute, it's not there. Okay, I didn't think of it either. So
My first birthday plus a day. I didn't know you back then.
Shabbat Shalom. Sam, good to see you. As always, Sybil. Shabbat Shalom to you both. Yeah.
Bye, so Shabbat Shalom. See you tomorrow for the Hanukkah party, pre-Hanukkah.
Okay. Shabbat Shalom. Signing off.
yeah.